Evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, scholars, members of the Board of Trustees, friends, and the staff of the CSMVS. It gives me immense pleasure to warmly welcome you to the felicitation ceremony of our very own Director General, Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. In order to begin this session and to inaugurate this evening, I wish to call upon Dr. Firoza J. Godrej, the chairperson of the Museum Society of Mumbai, to say a few words. Dr. Firoza?
Thank you, Jason, and thank you each and every one of you for taking the time to come here this evening for what we consider a very, very important event in the life of the CSMVS and our dear Mr. Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. I have been chasing this gentleman since September, and I think I have gracefully succeeded today. Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee, for doing us the honors. It's a very prestigious award that you have received. You wear it lightly, but it is not something that is given to us and to museum directors very often. And this is the first time an Indian museum director, subcontinent, has been honored as an international honorary member of the distinguished American Academy of Arts and Sciences. He flew out and came back within, I think, 4 or 5 days, and we all heard about it in the paper. Mr. Mukherjee, you have carried this way of life with you throughout your tenure in the museum, as a young man when you joined, and now as DG. I will be speaking later, so I just want to welcome everyone here. Come on, girls. Come on, Vaidehi, Nikhil, everyone. These are the stalwarts. There are too many to name, but I think you know all of them. I remember I almost felt that they were all the multi-Durgas behind Mr. Mukherjee. So the perils of working in a museum and the perils of working with the National Museum are immense. And as usual, this museum is on the go with sending artifacts to our neighbors across the Arabian Sea to Oman. So thank you very much, all the curators. Ajay, Bhaudat is not here, Manisha, Vandana, Vaidehi, Nikhil, Jyoti, Nilanjana. Have a cup of tea and sit down, Nilanjana. Renuka, and all of you are here today. So thank you so much. You honor not only the DG, but you honor the Museum Society as well. So thank you for being with us this evening. Jason?
Thank you, Dr. Firoza. Now I call upon Mr. Cyrus Gazdar, who represents the Board of Trustees, to say a few words. Mr. Cyrus.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We meet today for a long overdue recognition of a singular honor to the Director General of the Museum, Sabyasachi Mukherjee, on his election as an international honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Am I audible now? Sorry. So this evening's event is the culmination of a protracted struggle between the lady leaders of the Museum Society and Mr. Mukherjee. And it's not clear to me who was the victor, because the ladies wanted a major bash over a banquet, and Mr. Mukherjee said nothing was really necessary, because after all, when he returned from the US with his certificate of honor and the splendid citation, he told the museum staff that this was not to be seen as an honor to him personally, but an acknowledgement of the growing role and impact of art and culture in India as exemplified by this museum. So I leave it to you to decide who prevailed. Nonetheless, I feel privileged as the newly elected chairman of your Board of Trustees to pay my tribute to Mr. Mukherjee today. Now, much will be said today about Mr. Mukherjee's remarkable contribution to our museum. The blockbuster exhibitions that have been held, the Mummy, the Cyrus Cylinder, the opening of so many new galleries, sculpture, Carl and Mary Khandalawala, the Jahangir Nicholson Gallery of Modern Art, latterly the Buddhist Gallery, then the Children's Museum, and the Conservation Laboratory, which Mr. Mukherjee aptly describes as the hospital of the museum. But I've been put on a tight leash by the organizers, so I will confine my remarks very briefly. To provide a relevant background, I think, to frame the speeches that you will hear today. Now, Mr. Mukherjee's first international foray, if I may call it that, was when he was invited to join a group of directors of museums instituted many years ago by the director of the Metropolitan Museum, Philippe de Montebello. Now, this distinguished group was responsible for organizing very large international exhibitions. Later, under a dynamic head, Madame Irene Bizot, it expanded from 15 museums to now about 60 or 70, under the name of the Réunion des Musées Nationaux. These museum directors meet once a year in New York or Paris, and though there were always invitees from Asia or Australia, it was actually the nomination of Mr. Mukherjee to this distinguished group that marked the first Asian to join this influential group. Now, for the first time, this group, colloquially known as the Bizot Group, was invited to India by Mr. Mukherjee at the opening of this exhibition, and they were hosted by the CSMVS. It's now well known that, so we picked this up when they were all here, that Mr. Mukherjee has made a marked impact on the discussions of this group, not just on exhibitions but beyond, to encourage deeper thinking on such issues as the restitution of antiquities or the widening and diversity of more participating museums in a world that is driven by political conflict. So it was therefore not surprising that Mr. Mukherjee's name came to the attention of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Now, as you will hear, it is an institution with an incredible legacy. It was established in 1780 with a mandate, and I must read this one sentence to you, it's such a beautiful mandate, to cultivate every art and science that may advance the interest, honor, dignity, and happiness of free, independent, and virtuous people. Now, the members whose illustrious company Mr. Mukherjee has now joined ranged from the early days of George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Alexander Graham Bell through Albert Einstein, Martin Luther King, and Laurence Olivier to Jawaharlal Nehru and Amartya Sen. So, in conclusion, let me say that this nomination marks another clear step in the trajectory set by Mr. Mukherjee for this and other universal museums to reach out to other cultures, to share objects through exhibitions, and to create wonder in the minds of museum visitors about how to share cultures across the world which are both so similar and dissimilar. Mr. Mukherjee, you have brought another honor to the CSMVS, but we can be sure this is only going to help to further his mission, to raise the museum into the ranks of the foremost museums in the world, exemplifying, in his words, human ingenuity and universal values. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gazzar, for these encouraging remarks. I now call upon Dr. A.P. Zamkhedkar, the current Chancellor of JJ University, to say a few words.
Mr. Cyrus Gazdar, members of the trustees of the Felicitation Museum, and members mainly of the Friends of the Museum Society. I was at Dharamshala, and Dr. Firoza asked me whether I would be able to come and say something and join this beautiful gathering and express some of my thoughts on this. Mr. Gazdar has given us a very clear idea regarding the importance of this particular honor which has been given to Dr. Mukherjee. And I need not add anything from that point of view. I would say a few words from the point of view of an administrator, that is, one who was sitting in the Department of Archaeology and Museums as one of the persons connected with the museum. I happen to be a member of the Board of Trustees for a long time and learned a lot from the trustees. As I see it, the museum authorities and the board took a very bold decision of not accepting the pay scales which are usually prescribed for the government officials. And the Prince of Wales Museum being one of the semi-government museums, as you can call it, it is run by the Board of Trustees appointed by the government. This bold decision which was taken by the trustees as also the director had, you can say, very far-reaching consequences. It meant that the board was ready, along with the director, to carry on their financial matters on their own. In fact, a very small sum at that time when I joined was something like 1,30,000 rupees was the grant which was given by the government. So a decision was taken that, well, we will have our own pay scale and our own way of doing things. I would say I would look at the development of the museum from another point of view. Earlier, when Dr. Moti Chandra was there, I had a chance to visit in 1960 as a student of doing my PhD, because my guide told me that, well, he is a great authority on Prakrit and you have to meet him. During his times, as I understand, lot of emphasis was given on research. I don't mean to say that now it is not given or something like that, but more emphasis was on that. Then, when Gorakshakar came, and I saw that when I also joined in something like 77, he was in 73 already the director. He gave more emphasis on, you can say, galleries and their display and other things. He took up so many exhibitions. He took exhibitions from India to different countries, including Japan, Sweden, and so many others. And this way, there was a new trend which was set by the museum. When Kalpana Desai joined, she thought that, well, the literature on the museum, that is the catalogs and so many other things, they are to be emphasized. When Dr. Mukherjee came, There were so many things to be done. To do something beyond this was itself a challenge, because all these figures, they were noted by their name as also fame and their capacity to work and display something. I would say that Dr. Mukherjee not only in all these fields, for example, it was research, then writing catalogs, and then having new galleries and other things, probably he has done much more. And this required not only because he had to find out resources from the central government, so many other resources and other resources, private resources. And I would say that, well, it is not only his management skill which was required for such administrative matters, then his foresight in finding out new themes and giving opportunities to his young colleagues to train themselves in display and so many other things, bringing out catalogs. And with this, I think, with all so many honors which have been referred to here, Mr. Mukherjee has not only distinguished himself, but I would say he has brought honor to this great institution. And it is not a coincidence that we are completing 100 years. So this was something like a crest in all these achievements of the museum. I am so glad, Dr. Mukherjee, because we have been seeing each other for last more than 40 or 50 years. And well, I have been seeing the museum, the way you and the museum have gone together to the heights. I am very happy about it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zamkedkar, for those encouraging words and definitely a trip down memory lane. I now call upon art historian and scholar Dr. Saryu Doshi to say a few words.
Is that okay? Good evening, everybody, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you for asking me to talk about an institution with which I have been associated for a very long time, approximately 60 years, ever since I was a young student. I've seen the museum grow over the years. I have seen it in its various phases, and since Dr. Jamkedkar has talked about its development, I don't want to talk about that again, but I want to say that it gradually transformed itself, but it has today reached new heights, and that's under Dr. Mukherjee's direction and his imagination and his enterprise. The very first time I came to the museum was in 1960 as a young student at the Elphinstone College. I had just passed my SSC exam and I was there as a first year student, and with the museum across the street, I used to feel, what is this institution? What does it do? So one day I crossed the street and came. I couldn't get anyone else to come with me. And I came and I went through the museum. To me, it appeared like a dismal institution. There was nothing exciting about it. There were fragmented statues. There were artifacts. Some were very beautiful to look at, but they held no meaning for me. There was no excitement. You know, the sort of excitement you would experience when you go to Ajanta or you go to Elephanta, you know, the huge murtis and the sort of legends displayed around it, and the building by itself, all that, or the caves. You felt a certain context was established. Here it was like one figure here, one figure there, and all that, and I must say that I went back disappointed. And I even think today that hardly anyone comes from Elphinstone College to the museum to see it, because until now it was never an exciting place. As Dr. Jamkedkar pointed out, it was a research institution, and I joined it as a research institution to conduct my research here. Over the years that I've been here, over the decades, I've seen its transformation from a place that was maybe intellectually stimulating, but not aesthetically exciting. And so, though it had changed its galleries, revitalized them, lighting was better, things were happening, but it was a slow progress. You know, it was not catching the imagination of the people. With Mr. Mukherjee's coming there, certainly the whole atmosphere changed. There was excitement that he was changing the galleries. There was excitement that the building was getting renovated. New galleries have been instituted. And the Museum Society has got a lot of encouragement. So we are giving a number of lectures. Even though it was started many, many years ago, more than 50 years ago, it didn't really ever catch the imagination of people. Today we have so many people who want to join it and come to it. But what is agreed that it is possibly the new consciousness about art and heritage that brings people here. But it also the way in which it is projected and how it is made stimulating for people. You know, beautiful exhibitions have come here, exhibitions that one never thought of earlier. Even the concepts were new. You know, it was not just one period or one movement in art that was exhibited. It was new concepts in one of these exhibitions that was taken. What was interesting was I saw Hanuman contrasted with a Greek athlete. To me, I couldn't see the connection. What is it that's really being projected? Well, conceptually, they were both shown as what these two images were showing was strength. That someone, Hanuman was holding a mountain and it showed the strength. And the Greek athlete was shown with a discus, and that was his strength. Now, can you imagine this sort of connections that were being established? It widened our perceptions, it widened our ideas about things, and it was thought-provoking, it was imaginative, it was innovative, and it was enchanting. I think these are the sort of qualities that came with these new museums, and it brought people here. It brought people with excitement, and I'm not at all surprised at this happening with Dr. Mukherjee being so open-minded, so interested, so cooperative in any new ideas that are presented to him. He has renovated new galleries, renovated the libraries, and we have started publications, the conservation laboratory. You know, there's so much excitement, so many things happening. And I'm very, very happy and very proud of the fact that Mr. Mukherjee has received this distinction, because he truly deserves it, and he has made our museum one of the leading museums of this country. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring comments, Dr. Joshi. I now call upon Mr. Jay Hiremat, head of HICL and a friend of the museum, to say a few words.
Thank you for inviting me, Firoza. As you know, I don't know Mukherjee for a very long time compared to all of you. I mean, I've known him maybe a decade. Yeah, I agree with Firoza Saryu, when she said that the museum, when I first came here in the 70s, I felt it was quite soulless. You know, it didn't have a soul. Everything looked so dull, and there were hardly any visitors. And it's remarkable what has been transformed into. And especially in the past decade, I mean, it's just incredible what has been happening. When I speak to curators abroad and the museum directors, whenever I travel, they say that the only museum worth collaborating in India is the CSMVS. And thanks to Mukherjee, it has been really transformed into a global museum. Cyrus spoke about the Viso group and all that. I remember hosting the dinner for the Viso directors who had come here. They were totally enchanted, and they didn't expect such a museum in India, such a vibrant museum. And ever since then, it's been growing and growing. And with the last exhibition which is still on, the ancient sculptures, Neil McGregor has been, I think, a very great supporter of Mr. Mukherjee, and has really put us on a global map. Now, as a supporter of the museum, we have been off and on supporting, and Mr. Mukherjee's charm is just incredible, and he's very persuasive. He just has to make one phone call, and it's done, more or less. I think whenever he's phoned me, I don't think we have disappointed, and we're very happy that the first interaction was some small support for exhibition, but the first major one was the metals gallery which we supported. And I'm really happy that whenever I come here and I go to the metals gallery, I see hordes of people there, and a lot of young people standing in front of the Nataraja taking selfies. I mean, that is an incredible thing, And so really very, very happy that we were able to support this museum. And yesterday, my wife is also here. We all talk about it. My grandchildren, they want to come and they say, look, this is what my grandfather did. And so it's good to see that the next generation is also coming here. Yesterday I received the annual review of 21-22, and I was quite astonished at the number of events that you are having here. We don't obviously come here for all of them, but it's incredible what you're achieving and the outreach that you're having. And we are very happy to support the new initiative that you're bringing on, the CSMVS Rural Teachers Training Program in the area of art and cultural education. So this is the first year, and we are committed to support this, and hopefully if it goes well, we will continue with this in the next few years. And the annual report also talks about the traumatic years of the COVID and how you overcame that. We all forget about it. It was really quite a scary situation, and I don't know how you pulled through it when the museum was totally empty. There were no visitors. I think you didn't even get the staff to maintain it. So you pulled through that and you come out very well. So congratulations again, and for being elected as the whole very long name, so I will not repeat it, for this prestigious award, besides your other awards that you already have. And now that we have Cyrus as the head of the institution, and Behram Vakil and Pramit Zaveri, I think this will go to a new level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hiremat, for those kind words. I now call upon Mrs. Meenal Shirsagar, wife of our late chairperson, Mr. Shirsagar, to say a few words.
Namaste. I was given 7 minutes by Feroza, and I have written my speech, so please bear with me because there's so much to say and I really don't know where I can cut back on what I have to say. So, Chairman of the CSMVS Museum, Mr. Cyrus Gazdar, who's also Chairman of the Board of Trustees, well, he was, the Board of Trustees of the Asiatic Society. Chairperson of the Museum Society of Mumbai, Dr. Feroza Godrej, distinguished members and friends. It was a wonderful surprise and a great honor when Feroza asked me to say a few words at this special felicitation for Mr. Mukherjee to celebrate his election as a new international honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. I am happy and honored to celebrate and applaud him because he is someone we all admire and respect for his accomplishments, his conviction, and his leadership. I've had the special privilege of watching Mr. Mukherjee lead this great institution from the vantage point of being by the side of my late husband, Eknath Shirsagar, the former chairman, who had the deepest affection and respect for Mr. Mukherjee. I've also been fortunate to attend many events, lectures, and gallery openings at the museum over the past 2 decades. Finally, I have also seen Mr. Mukherjee's leadership through my association with the Asiatic Society of Mumbai, which collaborates closely with the museum and with Mr. Mukherjee in particular, since he had directed his team to give us support for several projects that we have undertaken. So from this perspective, let me share 3 aspects of his leadership that stand out for me. First, bold ambition and passion. He has propelled the museum into a world-class institution through setting very bold ambitions with a deep moral and emotional belief in his commitments. Whether in the work on the exhibition India and the World, or more recently in the Ancient World, to name just a few, he is able to energize both the museum staff and international partners like the Getty, as also global institutions like Citi and Bank of America. For my late husband, the focus of his role was enabling Mr. Mukherjee to have the foundation and the confidence to then set and achieve these ambitions. Even in his final months, he was in awe of how much Mr. Mukherjee continued to aspire, that he had the energy, the elan and the drive to go beyond the expected and set new standards every year with a sense of responsibility that is nonpareil, unmatched. Second, selfless leadership. Mr. Mukherjee enables others to shine. Whether it is the curators or the staff, he always looks to help colleagues achieve their full potential. The world is full of individual heroes who bask in self-glory. Mr. Mukherjee has distinguished himself in how he has built a strong, committed team of colleagues, mainly through the generosity of his spirit. He always acknowledges the part played by others, gives them praise and encouragement whenever it is due. This has allowed him to lead his team, and they in turn have been able to drive many innovations, whether in the Children's Museum where we are today, or in the Museum on Wheels, or in the Conservation Center. The latest landmark being the novel conception of the museum as a center for education. As we all know, the Ancient World project is a unique, original educational initiative by the CSMVS to allow for a deeper understanding of our shared ancient past. This is a role which no doubt will be emulated by others around the world, an idea that has not been essayed elsewhere, not even on the international scene. And it is thanks to the energy and self-confidence Mr. Mukherjee has instilled in the museum family, even amongst the young curators who are slowly discovering their place in this multi-layered world. He has created a model for a wide and deep educational engagement. Third, developing lasting partnerships. It is rare to have a leader who is able to create such a wide-ranging set of global partnerships with museums across the world, from the US, UK, Germany, the Getty Museum, the British Museum, the Staatliche Museen zu Berlin. Here in Mumbai, we have the rare privilege of being able to gaze upon outstanding sculptures from these major international museums and also connect with objects from many museums within India. For instance, the magnificent Varaha from Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh, which is the centerpiece of the Ancient Worlds exhibition. He has built these partnerships by nurturing long-term relationships, creating a true team spirit that helps push through in tough times as during the COVID pandemic, and by enabling all stakeholders to share in the spotlight. I've seen them do exactly this, in the way he has proactively reached out to the Asiatic Society and other cultural organizations in Mumbai to create a joint platform and establish ongoing collaborations. My husband always saw in him a consummate diplomat. It was a quality he admired because he knew it stood him in good stead when negotiating with the outside world or skillfully getting people to accept his point of view without giving offense or hurting feelings. Doubtless, there are many more inherent characteristics I could dwell upon, far too many for me to enumerate in the short space of time, but I do believe that these three leadership qualities, boldness, selflessness, and inclusiveness, have allowed him to become one of the most prominent museum directors in our country and indeed in the world. And to close on a more personal note, if I may be permitted, I must tell you how Mr. Mukherjee became like a member of the family when my husband was ill in the last month before his passing in November last year. He used to keep in touch with me on WhatsApp when A.T. was not able to communicate regularly with him on the telephone due to his failing health. Sometimes he would call me to ask after him, find out more about how he was doing. Mr. Mukherjee also visited him in hospital and brought with him much needed cheer. A.T. was delighted to discuss matters regarding the museum, the special project they had both nurtured together and were excited about. Those were precious moments that I will always cherish and be grateful for. Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. Finally, I was ever so deeply moved by the remembrance meeting he organized for my late husband right in the middle of a busy period when the opening of the Ancient World project was just a week away. It was truly a singular gesture, and our family is still touched and overwhelmed at the response this evoked from many, the wide-ranging tributes that were paid to my husband. It was truly a special and very moving event that surpassed all our expectations. I am also very grateful for his continuing wish to include me in all the activities of the museum, almost as if it were I, just like my husband, who had been a fellow traveler and had traversed the arduous path in the journey to the summit along with him. So I stand here on behalf of my late husband and my whole family to express our deepest admiration, respect, as also our affection for Mr. Mukherjee. The American Academy Honor is just one among the many accolades he richly deserves, and which in his usual fashion he attributes to his team, his museum family members, without any fanfare, and in all humility, as is his wont. I thank you for this opportunity to address you, and thank you, Mr. Mukherjee, for being here for us, with us in Mumbai, to helm this truly wonderful cultural institution of which we are immeasurably proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shirsagar, for those kind words. I now call upon Mrs. Marina Datta, our Executive Committee member of the Museum Society of Mumbai and an educator, to say a few words.
Good evening, Dr. Mukherjee, Mrs. Mukherjee, and Momita. I don't know whether Momita has come back from work. No, she was a little girl. She was a little girl when I knew her. She was just 4 years old, if I remember, her coming to one of our activities at the CCC. Can't imagine she's grown so big and also a working member in the family. That is really nice. Please tell Momita I said a warm hello to her when she returned. We've all gathered here this evening to felicitate Dr. Mukherjee. Hearty congratulations, Dr. Mukherjee, on your remarkable achievements. Under your leadership, the CSMVS has made a rapid and tremendous progress in all these years. There are so many changes in the half century that I've been visiting the museum. And earlier, as a little child, from a family of 9, we would come in a horse carriage. The bigger one sat in the horse carriage, while the little one sat in their car with a nanny. And this was the only thing around our house. We lived in Alexander Dock, in the quarters, and once a month or so we visited. And it was amazing, but dull, quiet, not a sound, not a person around to say hello to. So all we did was tapping all these showcases and saying hello to all the characters or whatever, the animals, etc. We had a lot of fun while we visited. There are so many changes in this half century, as I said. Every gallery gets a facelift once in a while. Something new to look forward to.
the CSMVS, curators and educators and staff are really working ever so hard, and we all appreciate what they are doing for us. Their interactive corners, punching coins, understanding the process of miniature painting, the interactive monitors, making bookmarks, the display screens, etc. Something so friendly and so warm and so cozy. For children, mummies, daddies, grandpas, everybody all together have fun at these little corners, including me. I love fun and play, as everybody knows, with children and also myself. Memories that I have of the CSMVS that have made such an amazing change, differences to the CSMVS over all these years. In the beginning, everything was so dull, quiet, dim, dark, no movement, and especially that I never saw children in many years. Then when the children started coming, their teacher would make them fold their hand at the back, walk in a straight line, no interaction, no telling them what they are seeing or whether they are seeing anything at all, but all they had to focus was on a line going in and going out. And when I would come with my little ones who were just 1.5 till about 4 or 3.5, we would be still going from to one gallery. We would do the natural history. By the time we were even halfway through, the rest of them had gone to the gate and gone home. That was amazing. That was shocking. That was disappointing for me. I couldn't imagine it. Anyway, one day I remember, Dr. Mukherjee, when you just became a director, our late Aarti Mehta invited you to one of our meetings. After greeting and shaking hands warmly and welcoming you in our little office that we had, I forgot what it was called, and we wished each other over a cup of tea. Then you very kindly said, "Is there anything you would like me to do at the museum? Any change?" I do not remember what the others said, but I said, "Could we have some musicians, Mr. Mukherjee, dancers or artisans at work?" And you gently said, "Then everyone will only gather around the artist or the musician or the dancer, and they will not go to the other part of the museum, this area," and they would not go on. We did not have to wait very long, Dr. Mukherjee. Very soon our wishes were granted. There was a change in the museum. There was color in the museum. There was movement in the museum. There were visitors coming more and more. Banners were outside. Posters were everywhere. In hotels and some other places, schools or colleges, I'm not too sure whether that was included, but definitely outside the gate, because I would get phone calls saying, "Oh, there's something new happening in the museum. Do you know?" I said, "I guess so. There's something happening every day. What did you see on the banner?" And they would report to me. I said, "Then you must go. Don't miss the opportunity. Take your family, take your friends, take senior citizens." That's what I also did. Besides the children I brought, and we did things together, the little babies, as I said, we mainly spent our time at the natural history. Now, what could they do? So they would sing songs like "Have You Seen a Little Duck?" or "Quack, Quack, Ducky," or "Cluck, Cluck to the Hen," or something. They would talk to the animals and birds and roar to the lion, and it was great fun. So they did that, and we had a lot of fun. So I said, "You can take your little grandchildren. This is what we do." Very soon the museum was a different, vibrant place.
dance performances at the sculpture gallery. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, was it Prachi? Prachi, are you here somewhere? Did you do that dance? Yeah. Oh, that was nice. I loved it so much. Dance performance at the sculpture gallery. Some musicians, some artists and work. And the Kaligat painting, they were very cute. They made the paintings and they sang the songs along with it. I think we had Tsunami at that time. And if you remember, the lady sang a song on the tsunami and she painted a Patachitra. That was really, really something special. I remember buying a fan because it was somewhere hot and I used that fan all the while. Some tribals at work, a buzz all the while. Something that I had never heard or experienced in more than half a century at the CSMVS. Another sweet little story. Some years ago, a little 8-year-old pupil of mine asked the then director if she could take the visitors around some galleries as she knew quite a lot, she said. I was wondering what quite a lot she knew, because at that time we would only take them to one gallery at a time and no more and concentrate on those exhibits or whatever we were concerned about. But sadly, the little girl was told that there was no vacancy for her. Now, there is such a change. There are many more educators and docents happy and willing to take the visitors around and speak to them in the local language, Hindi, I think Marathi, yes, Marathi, and English at the different galleries. What a change! A little girl, Kadambari, was refused to be a guide. Now we have dime a dozen in every gallery. Somebody moving, young people, smiling faces, full of love and warmth for the visitor. That is something very interesting. Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee. Our prayers were answered. Now, the galleries, what a change from the little girl who is now a young lawyer and chuckled when I gave her the news of the CSMVS. She said, wow, that's really nice. Oh, Mr. Datta, I can't imagine. I was turned down, but now there are many, many more. Yes, I said. Everyone's enjoying it and having fun. Now, coming from a very large family of 9, everything was in large numbers. So, when I started bringing in visitors, children from the NGOs, the underprivileged, the mentally challenged, the orphans, and also the physically challenged and differently able children to the museum, I would start with a slide presentation. I have forgotten the name of that auditorium we had on the first floor. Can anybody prompt me? No, where I would do the presentation. Seminar room. I'm sorry because it's changed and I couldn't get the word for the life of me today. So we did our slide presentation on ancient China, tables, Jean de la Fontaine, and so and so. At that time, or maybe of course earlier also. Tuesday, entry was free, so I could visit only on a Wednesday once a week with free entry. The next Tuesday, we had to wait till I got the next center. The whole week I had to cross my hands and wait for a Tuesday only for free entry. That made me very sad because I came from a large family. We played, we danced, we sang, we jumped, we swam. We did plays by ourselves. We had fashion shows, etc. And of course splashed in a lot of water and wet the whole house for sure.
It was then I could not believe I had to wait for 8 days to come in again for a free entry. That's not fair. Our childhood home was buzzing with noise and laughter and fun and screaming and dancing. Here I had to wait for 8 days to bring those little children in. For all the fun and play, for the underprivileged, marginalized, etc. While entering the Children's Creative Center that evening for a lecture, that Dr. Mukherjee noticed me, because at that time he noticed me with a very sad, downtrodden face. I was miserable. I don't know how he noticed that I was miserable, but I really was. I couldn't believe there was no laughter for 1 week till we would meet the children again. Looking sad, and said, "What happened to you?" I quickly said, "I cannot wait every Tuesday for free entry. The NGOs are not free every day or every Tuesday." Dr. Mukherjee promptly said he understood what I was saying. "Then what do you want me to do?" I didn't wait for that long, but quickly said, "I would like..." Yeah, I'm almost there. Sorry. "Then what shall I do?" I did not wait, but quickly said, "I would like to bring the underprivileged and marginalized children and groups free on every day and any day." Dr. Mukherjee very, very kindly said, "Just write us a note and we will inform you immediately, to inform the security." Abracadabra. And I could work with many more children, many more NGOs, and many more lovely, smiling children. Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee, for your grace, understanding, and kindness. All this means so much to all of us who can avail of this free entry on all days. Now, coming to the Museum on Wheels, a city CSMVS outreach initiative, something so special and unique, reaching out to far and distant places in Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, at various sites, schools, colleges, historic sites, cultural institutions, etc. An interesting way to learn. I can imagine the excitement for one and all. Now, our little baby at the back has completed 5 years. I think it's on the 29th of March. If I'm right, is it right, 29th? Okay. There is so much happening at the Children's Museum. Visiting artists, performers are invited to conduct workshops. There are plays, dramas, storytelling sessions, a children's orchestra plays by differently abled children. Thank you, Mrs. Mukherjee, for this. I remember coming to it. Several art, craft, and pottery workshops too. Poetry writing, story writing, citing a science project, story and puppet shows, a corner. I think it's somewhere there. I came to that place. That go with the exhibits, are brilliantly done. We have a little spot for the little archaeologists and the children with little tools, and they collect whatever they find. Hopefully they get treasures, I don't know. Well done, brilliantly done. Congratulations to all the educators who are constantly working on different projects at the Children's Museum. Dr. Mukherjee, our heartfelt appreciation and best wishes for future successes. There is no limit to learning at the museum, a never-ending place of new and brilliant ideas. Congratulations to all of you, especially to you, Dr. Mukherjee, Mrs. Mukherjee, and Momita. There is so much we have and continue to learn from you. May God bless you all and your adorable family and the family of the CSMVS. May you be blessed generously and abundantly always. Thank you.
I now call upon Dr. Feroza J. Godrej, the chairperson of the Museum Society of Mumbai, to say a few words. Dr. Feroza.
I assure you I'm the last speaker for this evening, and I will try to be as brief, but I do need to say a few words on behalf of the Museum Society. You all know that today we are gathered here to celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of an individual whose dedication, passion and vision have significantly elevated the status of our esteemed institution, the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangralaya, our CSMVS Museum. It is with great honor that I address you on behalf of the Museum Society to acknowledge and commend our beloved director, Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. Many speakers have addressed you earlier, but I'm going to try to be brief and say something. Under Mr. Mukherjee's astute leadership, our museum has undergone remarkable growth, evolving from a repository of artifacts into a dynamic center of learning and inspiration for all its visitors, from every walk of life, from every part of not only India but of the globe, speaking a variety of languages. You can just see the number of simultaneous translation of objects that we have and earphones that we have to go around in the museum. This is due to Mr. Mukherjee's steadfast commitment to preserving history and promoting cultural understanding, which has not only enriched our local community but has also impacted lives on a global scale. Through innovative projects like the Children's Museum Garden, where we're seated right now, Museum on Wheels, Art Conservation Center, digitization and archival research programs, and world-class exhibitions starting with the unforgettable Mummy collaboration with the British Museum, the Inside Story, and ancient sculptures. Dr. Mukherjee has captivated audiences worldwide and positioned our museum on an international platform. By his unwavering dedication, Dr. Mukherjee has ensured the preservation and accessibility of our heritage for present and future generations. In addition to his professional accomplishments, Dr. Mukherjee epitomizes, most importantly, integrity. Secondly, leadership. And thirdly, a profound dedication to the arts. And this he has maintained right from his graduation till the time he joined the museum in Mumbai. He has not only inspired his peers, but has also nurtured emerging talents, leaving an indelible mark on our institution and the industry on a whole. In recent times, the world has encountered numerous challenges, transitioning from crisis to crisis, including the complex issues such as climate change and ongoing conflicts. It is vital to recognize the remarkable efforts that have been made, especially during the tumultuous times of the pandemic. We were really at a loss. Between March and April, what are we going to do? But by May, we had mastered Zoom and we held almost 120 lectures during the lockdown. We took it to our advantage and invited scholars who we could not have afforded to have in India from round the globe, from as far as northern Siberia to Nova Scotia, and this was a real joy getting ready every Thursday for a lecture. Despite facing unprecedented hurdles, our museum under Dr. Mukherjee's guidance exhibited the one word that comes to mind: resilience, flexibility, and an unwavering commitment to serving our community no matter what the hardship. Throughout the pandemic, he spearheaded initiatives to ensure that the museum continued to offer solace, inspiration, and education to all of us. Despite temporary closures and restrictions and worries about security, Dr. Mukherjee adeptly shifted to a digital platform, providing virtual exhibitions, online lectures, and interactive experiences to engage audiences from the safety of their homes. Furthermore, he prioritized the safety and well-being of all the staff here. and the visitors by implementing stringent health and safety measures, creating a secure environment for all of us. Dr. Mukherjee navigated these uncertain times with grace and fortitude with the support of his chairman and the trustees, serving as a shining example and instilling confidence in the museum's ability to withstand any challenge. His efforts not only sustained our institution, but also reinforced our connections with the community, underscoring the enduring significance of art, culture, and human connection. Over the years, the Museum Society of Bombay, guided by Dr. Mukherjee, has organized programs focusing on heritage and conservation. The museum itself has undergone significant conservation efforts and provides restructuring. In conjunction with the Museum Society of Bombay has expanded its scope, embracing diverse cultural currents and engaging people in new activities. Today, I extend my heartfelt tribute to the former chairman of the museum for their visionary guidance. We honor the legacies of the late Jamshid Baba, the late Sri Kal Khandalawala, the late Sri Briji Deshmukh, the late Srimati K.T. Mehta, and the late Sri Eknath Shirsagar. Throughout our various programs, we have received unwavering support from all the directors, including the late Dr. Mochi Chandra, long before my time, the late Sadashiv Gorakshekar. I was a young girl when he was director, my dear friend Dr. Kalpana Desai, and our current Director General, my dear friend Sabyasachi Mukherjee. Their exceptional leadership and continuous assistance and guidance have proved to be truly invaluable. What can I say about my friends and colleagues? A special mention of gratitude to the extended, dedicated staff of the CSMVS. You are really the stalwarts. You're the soldiers in this army that moves forward every day. A real special mention of your dedication and your willingness at every stage to assist us. We've had our moments of happiness, we've had our moments of difficulty and sorrow, but without you, the senior directors, the junior directors, the four who joined us 10 years ago, we didn't have a conservation department, but the conservation department has come to the fore even today to help us, and you'll hear about that a little later. Today, as we commend Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee, let us not only celebrate his achievements, but also reiterate our own dedication to the core values of curiosity, exploration, and cultural appreciation that he truly exemplifies. May Dr. Mukherjee's legacy serve as a source of inspiration for all of us to strive for distinction and treasure the diversity of our shared heritage. I invite you to join me in extending congratulations and gratitude to Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee for his exceptional contributions to our museum, and they really are exceptional. You cast your eye around museums, national and national state museums, and you couldn't get a museum which has contributed so much to the broader cultural realm. Thank you, Mrs. Mukherjee, for being there. I know there have been many evenings when he has left you at home, and Momita, and I'm so glad you took this much-awaited, long overdue, arm-twisting holiday with this gentleman to Kathmandu. And I hope you had a restful time. I actually must compliment Momita for achieving this, because I don't know when you last has a holiday as a family. So even though she's not here, please tell her that we think of her fondly. She is the baby of the family to all of us. And today we are here. September he came back, and every week whenever I saw him, are you giving us a date? Are you giving us a date? Dr. Mukherjee's recent induction as an international honorary member of the Distinguished American Academy of Arts and Sciences in recognition of his global impact in this field. The members of the Museum Society of Mumbai, we celebrate 60 years as you celebrate your centenary, take immense pride and joy in presenting you, Dr. Mukherjee, with a scroll of honor, which I now ask my colleague, Dr. Prachi Jariwala, to read aloud. Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee.
Dear Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee, in the precincts of the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya, on Tuesday, 2nd April 2024, we, the members of the Museum Society of Mumbai, are extremely happy and proud to present you with this scroll of honor. This scroll records and represents our deep sense of appreciation for all your achievements. We are also grateful for your outstanding leadership as Director General and Secretary to the Board of Trustees of the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya. Under your stewardship from 2007 onwards, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya has undergone extensive modernization and refurbishment of its buildings and facilities. The first time a brand new children's museum has been set up, along with a conservation center, an institutional archive, and a number of new galleries and a host of collaborative and educational initiatives have been launched. Way back in 2010, in recognition of the initiatives under your able guidance, UNESCO awarded the museum the Asia Pacific Heritage Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation for that year. You have also organized numerous art exhibitions and international shows and overseen publications, conservation projects, exchange programs, and archive projects in partnership with museums worldwide. You have also distinguished yourself as a frequent speaker and active member of many professional committees, more particularly the BIZO Group, a distinguished group of American and European museum directors, and the UK Arts and Humanities Research Council. The University of Edinburgh has conferred upon you the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa for transformation of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya to a vibrant, engaged, cultural catalyst in Mumbai. Among your other notable attainments are the fellowships of the Nehru Trust and the Salzburg Global Seminar. The Bombay Management Association has also conferred Special Jury Mention Award 2016-17 upon you in recognition of your outstanding contribution towards the preservation of Indian culture and enhancing the glory of the museum. And you have been an awardee of the Rotary Club of Bombay's Citizen of Mumbai in 2022. You have also been inducted as an international honorary member of the Distinguished American Academy of Arts and Sciences since 2022 for your contribution to the field globally. In 2022, despite upheavals caused by the global pandemic, a team led by you carried out the grand restoration of the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya Heritage Building and World Heritage Site. This venture has won the UNESCO Award of Excellence for Cultural Heritage Conservation. We wish you a long and even more fruitful journey ahead that is full of creativity, innovation, and public enlightenment.
Thank you, Dr. Prachi. We now move on to the official part of the felicitation ceremony. I now request Dr. Mukherjee to come up on stage. I request Dr. Feroza J. Godrej to hand over the citation to Dr. Mukherjee. I request Mrs. Priya Mehta, our Executive Committee member, to hand over a token of our appreciation, and Mr. Praveen Shah, our Honorary Treasurer, to hand over a token of our appreciation to Dr. Mukherjee. I request Dr. Saryu Doshi to come up on stage and to hand over a small little gift, a recently conserved textile piece, to Dr. Mukherjee. I request Mrs. Mamta Mukherjee to also come up on stage. We would like to felicitate you as well. I request Dr. Anita Rane Kothare, our Vice Chair, to felicitate Mrs. Mamta Mukherjee on behalf of all those present here. I request the dignitaries to take their seats. And now I request Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee, the living legend himself, to address us.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Renuka, can you get me a glass of water, please? Thank you so much. One thing I would like to share with you, we are nothing without you. So, whatever we are today, whatever happening, good or bad, at the museum, because of you. And I am very proud of Mumbai. Wherever I go, any part of the world, the three things I say, like our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, I love Mumbai, I love people of Mumbai, and I love my museum. And to be honest with you, whatever, little we learned from our founders, our predecessors, and all our gurus. They are all here. Dr. Doshi, Dr. Jamketkar, Firoza Godrej, our late chairman, Mr. Eknath Sirsagar, our trustees, Mr. Gazdar, Beram, Pramit, Aarti, Smita, Maruk, Dr. Ashok Das, and most of them, they are here today. And you are my family. Everything I learned from you. In one of my conversations with Neil McGregor, he was talking about, today, CSMVS is looked at as museum of ideas, and that appeared in some of the foreign media. They describe CSMVS as museum of ideas. I would like to know the story, how, ideas came in the picture and created a new image for the museum. I said, look, we inherited the museum building. It's a heritage property. We inherited collection. We inherited many things, and there are certain things we wanted to add, that anything we do, educational program, activities, exhibitions, we bring some uniqueness in our program. So people, when they come, they participate. I use, participate. Not as spectator, they participate. They understand that this particular program is something different from other programs. And when they leave the museum, outside, they say it was an enriching experience. And there are two kinds of experiences wherever you go or any program you attend. At the end, you say it was very entertaining. And very rare you say it was an enriching experience. And we wanted to create a kind of combination that you feel that it was really, good, enjoyable, and it was enriching. And that perhaps, helped museum to create this image, museum of ideas. The last exhibition, if you remember correctly, India and the World, a history in 9 stories. It was a path-breaking exhibition, and it all started from conversation. And conversation took place behind the museum. There is a beautiful restaurant, Krishna, where I was having lunch with Neil McGregor, and he asked me after Cyrus Cylinder, the success of Cyrus Cylinder, what is the next? Is there anything, in your mind? And I said, something I am very curious to know, India's position in the ancient world. And he just looked at me and he said immediately, there is a ready-made exhibition. That was his own exhibition. The history, I think it's the history of world or world history in 100 objects. And I said immediately, Neil, you are very kind to offer your exhibition readily available, ready-made. But I could see my India this much, just like a bindi, 1 or 2 objects in your 100 objects story. And then he said, is there anything you are thinking about? I said, yes. I want, India is in the center. Through the windows of India, we look at the world. And that is the idea. And that idea gave birth to the exhibition India and the World, and subsequently Ancient World Sculptures, phase 1. And the phase 2, creating a semi-permanent gallery dedicated to ancient world. Now the question, many a times we ask, why we need to understand ancient world? What is the relevance of ancient world in today's world? Many a times I heard, conversation between people, young people largely. Past is past. Why do we bother? Let's look forward. And we tend to forget that past is embedded in the present. You just can't avoid past. And many things we noticed when we started the research. 95% today, I was talking to my staff, they are preparing for the Zurich presentation. The 95% of innovation, you just look at yourself, shoes, your costume, dress, jewelry, even the specs, the glass I'm wearing. Everything, trust me, everything were innovated produced in different formats from 3700 BC to 15th century CE. And the history of cotton goes back to Indus Valley time. The fashion was dominating that time. In all, Greek gods and goddesses, you find the different kinds of chappals, shoes, even our sun god wearing shoes. The art of writing was originated. Sometimes we say that, civilized, uncivilized, literate, illiterate. But we tend to forget that our ancestors, they were literate. The art of writing goes back to 3300 BC in Indian context. Harappans, they knew the art of writing and they recorded their history. Similarly, Egyptian, they recorded their history. Mesopotamian, they recorded their history. And that one, thing, the language and script, the invention of script, gave a new shape to the world, and that is something we tend to forget. Whatever we are today, the communication, how do you communicate? Language. And all that, invented during that time. And today when you look around, what you discover immediately, mobile, which you carry, that's the gift of 21st century. Laptop, the digital technology. Some, scientific instruments. But the rest, you find the innovation during that period, that span of time. And this is something, we tend to forget, and that is why, we are here, the museum, the cultural institute, and our responsibility to the world, that how we unite people for heritage, cultural heritage, how we make them understand that heritage or culture is the only tool that unites people. How we tell the people, how we tell our leaders that the cultural diversity is our treasure. And that is something we should be in position to accept and respect. There was a discussion, why do we need to know about Mesopotamian history? Why do we need to know about Egyptian history in India? Why, China, Mukherjee, why you are bringing China all of a sudden? Because the next exhibition, we are thinking, Harappa, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China, we added China. And then I said, I think after my return from Nepal, a small note was sent to our chairman, and there I said, my next project will be India in conversation with South and Southeast Asia. So that will be a major project after Ancient World Gallery, and that is something we are going to make a kind of announcement when we create the gallery at one corner, that the next show, it's not that Ancient World Gallery project ending with Ancient World Gallery exhibition, but it continues with South and Southeast Asia. And that will help our young people to understand India's position in the world. And that is the whole intention. So we look at, our exhibition as educational endeavor. And you all will be, because you are the people, helping us. We are one of the few museums or the museum in the country not supported by the government. And today, so much so happening in the museum because of accessibility, that we are trying to be accessible to everyone. Marina said, her experience that free visit, and today I have no hesitation to say, though we charge, 150 rupees to adult visitors, but there is another category. When visitors come in, they look at, our prices. Sometimes a family of 6, they feel that, they can't afford. Our security immediately, security will step in and say that don't leave. The idea, once you step in, you are not supposed to leave. There is another category of ticket, economic ticket, 10 rupees. And every week, if 20,000 visitors visiting every week, at least, 500 or 600 people take advantage of 10 rupees ticket. And the beauty of Indians, sometimes, being Indian, we underestimate Indians and we disrespect. But Indians, they have a huge, sense of dignity. They don't want free ticket. After that economic ticket, we have the complimentary ticket. That even if you cannot afford 10 rupees ticket, we will give you complimentary, but you must see the museum. But hardly anybody asks for compliment. They buy the 10 rupees ticket. So that's the beauty, because this is, the museum by the people for the people. And at individual level, what I could do, probably, selling our history, like a salesman, I tried to, sell the glorious history of the museum, that this is a museum by the people for the people everywhere. And people came around and supported. Many a times when I interact with people outside Mumbai, everyone talk about, fundraising, sustainable partnership, Fioja talked about. And there are partners, working with us, constantly supporting the museum, like Bank of America. And this space was a dumping ground. Before, 2019, it was museum's dumping ground. So one fine morning, just started searching for little space for children, a city of 23 million, little space. For adults, you have everything. You have clubs, pubs, theaters, NCPA, museum, library, but for children, practically nothing except, formal spaces like schools. And Mumbai space is shrinking with the time. So how do we create little space? I had invited Rahul. Rahul, why don't you come and see the space? Can we create something for children? He came and he looked at and he said, all around I see the trees. Where is the space? And you have to clear up everything, but there is no space. I said, no, we will not allow you to cut a single tree. You have to develop a design incorporating trees. And then they said, he said that, okay, let me do some preliminary design and this thing. And then, Mr. Mukherjee, if you remove 3 trees, then you are saving about 50-55 lakhs. I said, what do you mean that removing 3 trees? He said, yes, just take, BMC permission and this thing, manage it. I took up this matter with the board. Yes, there was a debate. Some trustees, they said, it's a big money, Mukherjee, that saving 3 trees. And then I said that, sir, you have to think about, children, what you preach outside environment and what you practice inside. There has to be some kind of, So they just looked at me, they said, you think that you can manage? I said, give me the opportunity. Let me try. I phoned Kaku Nakate, the present president. She was there at that time. she said, it's a question of 55 lakhs, and you don't want, those beautiful trees to be cut. Okay, we will support you. We'll give you the additional money. So Rahul, developed this design incorporating 3 trees inside, and today, during monsoon, they look so beautiful. Even our children, when they attend the function, they could see the rain. Sitting inside, they could see the trees and they could see the rain. And this is the space we created, not for toys, that not playing with toys. It's a creative lab. And if you all remember the first exhibition, through competition we had selected 25 children out of 1,800, allowing them to select objects, given them some orientation, curation, and all the training. They did everything. Curation, selection, installation, graphics, marketing, and at the end, taking you around. Even today, any exhibition we do, we involve children and we give them 110% freedom. That this is at least, one space in the city where we don't impose anything. Otherwise, at home, parents, shouting at them, don't talk, go next room. If guest comes, you just, push them that go and sit there, behave properly. When they go to school, teacher, listen to me, don't argue. And that, again, they go to the college, same thing. They listen to professors. I know better than you. You don't argue with me. So where is the time to grow? And how you create, thinking citizens? And that's the problem in our country. Something is terribly wrong with education system, and that is something we need to restore. Many times we talk about problems, difficulties, this, that. But the center point is education. And I genuinely feel that something is terribly gone wrong with our education system. Are we creating robots for the future? That somebody says, this is the way, we need to look at India. We all say, yes, yes. This is the way we need to look at the world. Yes, yes. Why we can see our country differently? Why we can see our history differently? Why we can see our world differently? So these are the questions, and when you find answer, that brings uniqueness. I will not talk much about my ideas, what I am thinking or what we are doing. It's a family, it's a beautiful institute. You all, contributed in the development of this museum. We are grateful to each one of you. And thank you, Firoza, for organizing this felicitation, and the Museum Society Executive Committee members. I know each one of you, Mrs. Minal Sagar, I really miss Eki very much. He was, how do I say, a friend, philosopher, and guide. I worked with him for 11 years. I don't remember one incident he, imposed anything on us or on me. We used to enjoy, we used to respect each other, enjoy our relation. He was very proud of museum. We were very proud of museum, and we worked together. And any project I shared with him, he just looked at me. Are you happy? I said, yes, sir. You think that you could raise the money? The moment I say, yes, sir, go ahead and do it. So that was 18. I was very fortunate to work under many, stalwarts. selected. I was selected by KJK. KJK took my interview. Myself and Manisha, when we were appointed, KJK was the chairman, and he interviewed both of us. We worked under Sadashiv Gorakshekar, learnt a lot from Mr. Gorakshekar. We worked under Kalpana Desai. We learnt a lot. So we are, grateful to all our gurus, and whatever we are, again, I end with that. Because of our gurus and because of all of you. And thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee. You truly are an inspiration. A big round of applause once again for Dr. Mukherjee. I now invite Dr. Anita Rane Kothari, Vice Chair of the Museum Society of Mumbai, to propose the vote of thanks and close this event for the evening.
Thank you very much, Jason. Good evening, everybody. Thanksgiving over here is always a joyous occasion, especially on this verdant lawn of the Children's Museum. I specifically say that because of Mukherjee establishing this Children's Museum in this, you can say, illustrious campus of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya. So we all, I would say, esteemed members of the Museum Society of Mumbai, friends of the museum, all are great historians over here, and friends and the staff of the CSMVS have gathered over here to thank Mukherjee over here, to admire him. Our hearts are brimming with pride over here and admiration as we extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. So, sir, it is a real immense pleasure over here to thank. I was just 16 when I entered into the CSMVS, and I'm yet over here after a long time. And I really enjoy over here. And under your visionary stewardship, I think I've seen you when you have recently joined also at that time. And you have transformed the whole thing, evolving into a beacon of cultural enrichment and enlightenment. So this modernization of CSMVS and the refurbishment over here of its infrastructure, the establishment of the Children's Museum, Conservation Center over here with establishment of numerous galleries, educational initiatives, stand as a testament to your indomitable spirit and foresight. So your endeavors over here have not gone unnoticed in the world as well. Furthermore, your active engagement in professional committees and your scholarly contributions have not only enriched the museum landscape but have elevated you to some of the most esteemed positions, such as an international honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. So you have not only taken the museum at a, you can say, zenith, but also our country, and we are proud of it. And therefore, your tireless efforts, particularly amidst the challenges posed by the global pandemic, culminated into the heroic restoration of CSMVS's heritage building, then earning the UNESCO's Award of Excellence for Cultural Heritage Conservation, an achievement that resonates for beyond the confines of a city. And therefore, Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee, your legacy is one of unparalleled dedication, innovation, and public service. So as we offer this vote of thanks, we do so with the uttermost admiration and gratitude, and with heartfelt wishes for a future filled with continuous success, creativity, and enlightenment. Thank you, sir, once again for your invaluable contributions to the preservation and celebration of our cultural heritage. I thank the executive committee. I thank the staff of the CSMVS. I thank everybody for helping us make this event a successful one. Thank you, and thank you all. Please do come for all our programs. Thanks a lot.